Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of BingX AMA. And today I'm Emerson here, and because Aziz have something like urgent, so I'll be covering for this specific AMA session today. And joining us today in this live stream is Mark from Synfutures, and we are certainly like appreciative of you joining us, and we are looking forward to hearing more about Synfutures as well as like what you guys are up and the up and coming stuff.
Great.
So
Yeah. Thanks for having me here.
yeah, thanks, Mark. So perhaps before we begin, right, maybe you could do some like quick introduction about yourself and what Sync Futures is about.
Sure. So I'm Mark, the CMO of Synfutures. I've been in the crypto space for a few years now, since about 2017, 2018, working with a lot of different DeFi protocols, layer ones, and even centralized exchanges.
Mhm.
At Synfutures, we're working on delivering permissionless derivatives to a much bigger audience than the market currently serves right now.
Yeah,
So excited to be here, and looking forward to kicking things off.
yeah, certainly. Yeah, I mean, like before the stream, right? We have actually checked out, some of the things that you guys are doing, and it's pretty interesting and exciting. And we can't wait to actually, you know, share what Sim Future is all about with our audiences. So, perhaps like to kickstart everything without further ado, maybe let me just ask you the first question: what is Sim Futures exactly? So, could you
Yeah.
like give us?
Okay. So Synfutures, from a high level, Synfutures is a decentralized derivatives exchange that enables anyone to list and trade futures on any asset with a price feed. This means we support everything from like your major cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, um, etc., all the way down to like the altcoins, but also real world assets like equities, bonds, gold, and anything with a price feed, essentially, even Bitcoin mining hash rates. We're also working on releasing an NFT focused product called NFT Futures, which is going to let you trade derivatives on different kind of NFTs from Bored Apes, CryptoPunks, art blocks, and even baskets of NFT collections.
I see, I see. It's probably very exciting to hear about the NFT derivative. So I presume that you guys will be the first to actually roll out this feature, right, to
Yeah.
market.
So, as far as we know, we'll be the first one to offer this type of decentralized derivatives trading on NFT collections.
Hmm.
We're planning to release that as part of our phase V2 launch, which is coming up later this year.
Oh, okay. That's good to hear. So in terms of like the features itself, we understand that like there's definitely more like features apart from the NFT uh, aspect that is rolling out. So what are the core features of Sync Futures and what actually differentiate it from other DeFi derivatives protocol?
Yeah. So, I would say our biggest differentiator is probably the permissionless approach that we take, which is
Hmm.
unique in not only decentralized derivatives but also centralized. So if you look at centralized derivatives exchanges like FTX, Binance, etc., but
Yeah.
also the decentralized derivatives exchanges like DYDX, Synthetics, and Perpetual, you'll see that they offer a very limited number of trading pairs on their platform. So
Hmm.
typically anywhere from 5 to about 30, right? So this really
Yeah.
limits what traders can do with derivatives. And we wanted to take a different approach by opening it up to anyone to list anything that they'd like to trade. It's kind of like taking the Uniswap V3 model, right? Where
Hmm.
anyone can come and list a token as long as someone provides the liquidity for it. We offer a similar format where we allow anyone to come and list futures on any asset pairs. Like I mentioned, as long as it has a price feed. This really opens up the kind of the derivative strategy to not only like the core cryptocurrencies that you see available everywhere else, but also pairs that you might not find on any other platform, really opening up like the long tail asset class.
Yeah, certainly.
I
I
would
think.
say,
Hmm.
yeah,
Sorry, you.
so no, no. So I just wanted to add that, like, so I think being truly permissionless is one of the things that differentiates us. But the other is that we really focus on providing like a seamless user experience, which
Mm-hmm.
means we try to bring like consumerization to the derivative space. I think derivatives, it can feel a bit intimidating for people who aren't, professional or institutional traders, especially if you look at the interface of some of the derivatives platforms out there like DYDX. It's a
Yeah.
little overly complex. There's a lot going on, and so it's a high barrier to entry for the average user. And we want to cater to like the growing kind of mainstream audience who are just now starting to do spot trades with crypto and looking for different ways to create arbitrage and hedge risk in a simple and easy to understand format.
Mm, that's definitely good to hear. So pretty much in terms of like the whole user experience, we are pretty much aligned, especially like with BingX. We are also like looking into, improving the whole user experience for our case is like copy traders and we as a centralized exchange, the sort of like interface. It should be accessible to most.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I'm actually quite curious to ask like what is sort of like you mentioned that any sort of tokens can actually be listed on Synfutures, right?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
As in you do mention like Synfutures are able to list a variety of like tokens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
mm,
yeah, so we do enable anyone to list anything, like I mentioned, that has a price feed, right? So we do
mm,
integrate with different oracles from Chainlink
okay.
to spot dexes like Uniswap, SushiSwap to pull real-time data on the price feeds so that we can support them on our platform.
Okay, so irregardless of the kind of chains that the projects are built on, whether it's BSC or Solana.
Yeah, so we are taking a multi-chain approach. We're currently deployed on 4 chains, Ethereum, BSC, Polygon, and Arbitrum. We're working on launching on Avalanche next, which is something that our community actually voted for.
Mm.
And then I think toward the end of the year, we'll also start deploying on non-EVM chains as well.
Oh, okay. That's definitely something to look forward to, especially for traders. So, okay, thanks for sharing about this aspect. So, my next question to you, right, is like, what, like, in your own point of view, why are derivatives like important, and what is the market opportunity that you are seeing currently?
Yeah, so I think for any healthy and like robust financial market, you need to give the participants a way to take both sides of a trade, right? So if you look at just your traditional spot markets, you're essentially only able to take a long position by buying and holding a particular asset. But in order for that market to grow and to become a much more robust financial ecosystem, you need products like derivatives, like futures contracts, options, perpetuals, etc., to give participants a way to hedge risk, um, create arbitrage, like I mentioned earlier,
Hmm.
and take like the downside, right? So instead of just being able to long it, being able to short different positions and using leverage to enhance your position.
Hmm. Definitely. Okay. So, on to the next question. Like, can you share about like the Sync Futures like roadmap for this year?
Yeah. So some really exciting things coming up. I think our major update is going to be our V2 launch, and we're rolling it out in different phases. But the first phase is coming very soon. So at the beginning of April, we're going to open up V2 testnet. So we'll invite users to come check out our new platform. Just to give you a bit of context, we've been in V1 public beta for maybe about 5 months now, and
Hmm.
we've gained a ton of traction. We have 56,000 users. We've done close to 5 billion in cumulative trading volume, and this
Hmm.
is all in a version that we consider to be like still an early iteration of our grand vision, right? V2 gets us much closer to that vision by simplifying the user experience even further, enabling people to make trades in just a couple of clicks, and simplifying the liquidity providing experience. The other major thing that's coming with our V2 launch is we're introducing perpetual futures, right? So currently our V1 only supports traditional futures contracts, which have set expiry dates. With perpetuals, I think there's a huge untapped opportunity for us because just looking at the traditional derivatives markets, perpetual and the crypto derivatives markets, crypto perpetuals are typically more popular than your traditional futures contracts. So we see this as a way to really not only enhance our offering for users, but also to bring in an entirely new audience. We're also going to roll out coin margin futures, which means anyone can provide liquidity or use like a native network token as margin, right? So
Yeah.
right now we provide, margin options with like USDT, BTC, ETH, etc. In the future, with V2, people will be able to use their native token for margin requirements.
Okay. Do they have to go through any DAO to actually propose that?
No. So
Okay.
that's the beauty of the platform. We're completely permissionless, meaning anyone can go on the platform and, list anything they want, trade anything they want without having to submit it to a DAO and
Yeah.
get it approved, which can take, weeks to months.
Yeah, I agree. And in fact, this is like the ideology of like what blockchain truly stands for as well, decentralization. So
Right.
thanks for the sharing. So okay, the next question is like what is Synfutures doing to make crypto derivative trading more accessible to a wider audience? Could you share with us more?
Yeah. So I'd say, the first thing that we do is just simplifying the user experience, making it, incredibly easy for anyone to navigate our platform. So I think that already kind of reduces a lot of the barriers you see in more complex DeFi products, especially in derivatives trading. We're already seeing the results of that even with our V1 because, if you look at our user base and we look at some of the metrics, our trading metrics, it's clear that a bulk of the trading volume is driven by your kind of like your average retail user, right? Or some larger retail users, and
Yeah.
less so on the, institutional or whale type of trading. And the reason we know this is when we look at our volume, the top 5 traders on our platform make up less than 5% of our total trading volume. If you look at other derivatives exchanges, decentralized derivatives exchanges, you'll see that it's anywhere from like 50 to 80%. So we know that we have a lower concentration of whales on our platform and institutions and much more kind of general retail trading going on. So we do know that this focus on user experience is going to continue to be an important part of our growth as we continue catering to like new audiences. The second thing is we think user education is incredibly important. So, like I mentioned, not everyone is aware of the intricacies of derivatives trading products, right?
Yeah.
So we want to help bring in more people by giving them the necessary kind of resources and knowledge that they need to make their first trade. And to enable that, we launched Synfutures Academy, which is an educational hub where people can learn about all things, DeFi, derivatives, and even just general crypto topics. We're planning to expand this. Right now, we have a lot of written content, but we're planning to expand this with videos, with interactive courses, quizzes, etc., to make it much more engaging and to like really draw people in and give them like a step-by-step guide on how to get started in derivatives. Even some of the smaller nuances, like what are the difference between, traditional futures and perpetual swaps? How do you hedge risk, etc.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a very great initiative because since last year we have seen like a huge growth in terms of like the new user base, especially those that are coming from the Gen Z population, as well as many others who might not have any like prior trading knowledge, getting into this like whole crypto like market. So I believe that the Synfutures Academy certainly would help them, not just like in terms of navigating your platform, but to get them get to be in the know on what derivative tradings and all other products in the market is all about. So great to hear. So I think earlier on you do mention about the NFT aspect. So do you have any other things that you would like to add on in terms of the NFT product?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, the product that's coming up is called NFT Futures. That's NFTURES. And that's something that's going to be on the roadmap as part of our V2, not in the initial phase of the V2 launch, but sometime later in the year. We're looking for different ways to enable people to trade, derivatives on NFT collections, but we also want to make it very simple. We understand that like the NFT collector community skews heavily toward like the general retail audience. And so even in the design of the product itself, we've thought about how do we make this seamless, but also fun for the user, right? So right now we're working on a Tinder-like UI, which means you
Oh,
have these kind of like,
yeah.
NFT cards pop up and you can click like or dislike. And it lets you, by disliking, you could take a short position, by liking, you take a leverage long position and so forth. So we really want to try to, gamify the experience, make it incredibly easy for people to get started, and remove a lot of the barriers that like most people think about when they think about complex products like derivatives.
Mm,
And to enable a lot of this derivatives trading, we're partnering with some of the biggest names in the NFT platforms in the NFT space, like Fractional.art, NFTX, to pull like those price feeds in real time for fractionalized NFTs.
I see. So any plans for like mobile app in the near future?
Yeah, so not in the immediate. Part of the reason is a lot of Web3 is still not mobile optimized, right?
Yeah.
With your MetaMask and everything. I know there is a MetaMask mobile app, but it's just not seamless yet. So I think that's something
Yeah.
that we could explore in the future. And that's actually my biggest gripe with like Web3, right? Like we
Mm.
talk a lot about Web3 being like the next frontier of the internet and everything, but it's a really
Where's the
lackluster
value?
experience when we get to mobile. So I think that's
Yeah.
something not only for us to pursue, but for the entire industry to kind of like work together to enhance to improve.
Definitely. Give it a few years. I believe like just like DeFi, the whole Web3 space eventually it will mature, and once that happens, we can move on to the next stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great to hear. So yeah, next question from me is like basically you do mention about the V2 launch, right? So any new updates or changes that users and potential users of Synfutures can expect from them?
Yeah. So, since I've already mentioned them, I'll give you like a quick recap. So, the
Yeah.
big thing that's coming is going to be perpetual futures, meaning they'll be able to trade without any expiry dates like you see in futures contracts. We're going to roll out coin margin futures, so you'll be able to fulfill your margin using like a native token of another ecosystem, which will give people a lot more flexibility, right? So to give you an example, let's say you're a big Avalanche supporter, right? You may not want to necessarily convert out of AVAX into one of the traditionally supported margin tokens, and so we will give people the freedom and the flexibility to kind of trade you on their terms, right? And I think that's like the ultimate goal, like enabling people to trade when they want, how they want, and however, wherever they want. Beyond that, so NFT futures is one of the bigger updates coming down later down the road as well, although that's going to be a standalone product release from Synfutures.
Hmm. Okay. It's understood. Okay, so at the meantime, right, let me just add my co-host into the chat, and he will have some other questions. Yeah, because he has been asking me some of the things that he's excited to know about
Okay,
Synfutures. Okay,
great.
Aziz, welcome back to the chat.
Hi, can you hear
Great
me?
chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good,
Good.
good.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Mark, and thanks for having me, Emerson. I'm sorry for the technical issues that we had. Apparently, I wasn't able to log in from my browser using um, the tools, the podcasting tools that I have.
No
Uh,
problem. Yeah.
I it took me some time. I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, Mark, um, why do you need an NFT derivatives? For as long as I know, NFTs are used mainly for, to buy and hold. And when you place it as a derivative, you will expect the traders to speculate on it, right? Will it affect on the actual price of an NFT? That's the first question. That's the first part. And the second part is there really a demand for such a product?
Yeah. So I think NFTs becoming like rapidly rising as a digital asset class. There is a big need for us to enable, more complex financial products around NFTs. We're seeing this with the rise of like the intersection of DeFi and NFTs. But one of the reasons we decided to explore a product like this is because of exactly that, right? Like we've heard from the community, especially the NFT community,
Yeah.
that they want the ability to kind of take short positions when they deem necessary. I agree. Like most of the NFT community are in it for the community. They're in it for like the brand, and um, they're probably going to buy and hold. But there are also a lot of kind of speculators involved, which is healthy for any market, right? It really shows a maturing and growth in a market. Um, and then, NFT collectors, they always talk about enabling like institutional investors to get in, right? They want to see that institutional adoption. But I think we're starting to see some now with, funds like Three Arrows Capital uh, putting more money into NFTs. I'm seeing more and more NFT focused venture capital firms popping up. But I think in order for like the mainstream institutional adoption to happen, we need a more robust financial market, which comes with giving them the ability to kind of hedge their risk on certain collections, create, leverage arbitrage opportunities using, traditional derivatives type of products. So I do think there is a need for it. I do think that it will impact prices to some extent, but I also think it'll bring in more adoption. It'll bring more recognition as a legitimate kind of digital asset class. And yeah, I think it'll ultimately help the space grow. I mean, there's already a lot of trading going around NFT specific tokens, right? Like the launch of ApeCoin. And so
Yeah.
if you think about it, like the ApeCoin is very closely tied to like the Bored Ape NFT, and you
Yeah.
could still take that, trade derivatives on it, and things like that. So we're bringing this same functionality to all other NFTs that may not have their own token associated with it.
But there are so many types of NFTs. There are tons of creators. So this field is growing exponentially. I could say that. Um, how would you then select which NFT tokens or NFT whatever to put into the platform? Are you putting each, like each a project as an index, or is it going to be like a separate NFT item one by one?
You mean like individual NFTs, like let's
Yeah,
say Bored Ape number 500?
yeah, 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 yeah.
No, no. So it's going to be based on the collection, and
Mm-hmm.
it's also going to have to be tied to like the fractionalized NFT. So,
Mm-hmm.
like I mentioned, we're working with partners like Fractional.art to pull in those kind of real-time price feeds. So there will be, um, as far as like the type of NFTs that get supported, my thinking is it's always going to have to be something with a slightly larger collection. So, this probably wouldn't work on a smaller collection, and it definitely wouldn't work on like a one of one, right? Unless there's a lot
Yeah.
of volume around that one of one on the fractionalized side. Like so the original Doge meme, for example, there's a big market for the fractionalized kind of token for it. So for something like that, I think we can enable some derivatives trading on. So it all depends on how much kind of adoption there is, how much interest there is. But ultimately, we're going to allow people to list their own NFTs, just like we do with list their own NFT trading pairs, just like we do with our traditional derivatives platform.
Okay, and that will be a separate marketplace, right?
Yeah, separate marketplace.
Which will be not derivative, but it will be, like regular spot buy an NFT, like an
Oh
NFT marketplace.
no. So it will be derivatives. So
Ah,
you're going to be able to long and short and take levered positions on NFT collections.
okay. Oh well. And how is it going to work with NFTs which are based on metaverses or GameFi?
What do you
There are
mean?
some, yeah, NFTs, that you can use in the metaverse or gaming.
Yeah.
How is it going to work? Are they going to be individual NFTs on the marketplace, or are they, going to be like you said, a collection, a separate collection?
Yeah, it's going to be collection based, and as long as it's tokenized, we'll be able to support it.
Right. Okay. Any partnerships so far, which like notable partnerships or partners that you could share with us?
Yeah, I say so. I guess we have kind of two major sets of partners. One is the partners we leverage for like the price feed data that we use. So anything from like a chain link to Uniswap to Sushi Swap, and then on the other side, I think our major ecosystem partners play a big role. So Polygon is a very active partner of ours. Arbitrum. And as we kind of scale and expand our multi-chain strategy, working with like more of the layer 1 and layer 2 ecosystem as kind of our partner ecosystems, is we see that as like one of the most effective ways to grow at scale.
Okay. Any initiatives so far which you'll be launching, like grants or developer initiatives?
Yeah, no grants or developer initiatives just yet, but we are running a series of trading competitions. So we're in the middle of an Arbitrum specific trading competition. So we have about 8 or 9 Arbitrum pairs listed on Synfutures today. Anyone who trades between now and the middle of next month qualifies for like a limited edition NFT, which will grant them access to our V2 during closed beta. We're going to launch a Polygon specific NFT trading campaign at the beginning of April, and that's going to allow people to trade for an opportunity to earn a Polygon specific NFT that's also going to grant them closed beta access.
Okay,
And obviously, these NFTs will hold other benefits too. So one of the things that we enable with them is DAO-style community voting. So we allow people who hold these NFTs to submit community proposals and vote on them. The last proposal that we had passed was to launch on Avalanche as our next chain. And so we're actively working on integrating with them now. So these NFTs have like a little bit of a governance aspect to it, but in the future, they'll also have other special benefits.
I just to give a clear understanding to the user base. The the platform is like like a derivatives trading platform, but it's like decentralized, right? The reason I'm asking, I saw many pairs which are based on wrap coins, like wrap Ethereum, wrap whatever. It's decentralized, right? Because it is the wrap. Okay. Right. And if anyone would like to know more about your the upcoming events or updates or any news or partnerships, where do they find this information?
Yeah, so I would say the best place is to check out our community on Telegram. That's Synfutures DeFi. You can also find us on Discord. And then anyone who wants to learn a little more about the product can check out our website at www.synfutures.com.
All right. Social media, Twitter, Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, Twitter, Discord, and just directly on the site because we'll post updates. I would say Discord and Twitter are, where we post updates in real time.
Are the most active. All right.
Yeah.
And you have a support team on Discord probably who will, answer any questions that the users have.
Yeah.
All right.
I will
Cool.
certainly check out as well.
Okay. Should we grab some questions from the comments?
Yeah. I think there's some like very interesting questions from the audience side.
Mhm.
I guess we would like to take some. Or maybe let me just start off. I saw one very interesting aspect.
Okay.
So this question is by Tommy White, and he says like APY, liquidity, slippage, and volume are always comparative factors of a DeFi product. So how does Synfutures compete with competitors in this regard?
Yeah. So the yield that we offer on the platform is on the liquidity providing side, right? Our liquidity providers take about a little over 80% of all trading fees on our platform. And that's our way of really incentivizing them to get involved. We haven't calculated a lot of the APY yet, but as part of our V2, we're going to make that much more apparent, where we're going to list out kind of like the typical APYs on different trading pairs.
Okay. Hope that answers your questions, Tommy. Okay, two more questions from the audience side. Artist, would you like to choose one?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna grab this one because I think it's something that a lot of users are worried about. It's the question from Jimmy Kimber. Security is always at core of a project, especially. So what has Synfutures protocol done and will do to improve security and protect customers' assets?
Yeah, so we do have a lot of security features in place. So like anti-MEV, for example, all of our smart contracts have gone through at least one and sometimes more than several security audits, and you can find our audit report right on our website.
Okay.
All right, thanks for the question.
Yeah, good question, Jimmy Kimber. Security right now is it's a big concern, and not a surprise we're seeing such questions. Can I choose another one? Okay, I think this is something from your inside information, but we'll be able to share. And it says, uh, Jonathan KOL is asking, how will partnership with Dune Analytics shape? Will Synfutures prepare and implement its analytics mechanism one day?
Yeah, so we actually already have a Dune Analytics dashboard that's open to the public. It shares a lot of great data. I think as being a decentralized protocol, one of the things we do value is transparency. So you'll see everything from daily active users, weekly active users, trading volume, cumulative volume, etc., all on that dashboard, and you could find that right on synfutures.com, right in the center of the page.
All right, thanks.
All right, just
Thank you,
flashing
Janet,
it
for
on.
the question.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we selected how many? Three?
Yeah, three of them. All good
Right?
question.
Anything else you would like to add, Mark? Um, about the project, about yourself, about Synfutures, and about the nearest future you see in the blockchain and crypto industry?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that makes Synfutures unique is we come from a pretty diverse background of both from both traditional finance and the crypto and technology space, which is a bit unique for the decentralized derivative space, because I think a lot of teams do come from either native crypto or native technology backgrounds, but not so much the financial engineering side. So we have a team that's, traded at major firms like Deutsche Bank, Credit Suisse, et cetera, but also some of the major technology companies where they've helped build some of the core blockchain infrastructure that you see being used today. So, I do think that there's a lot more work to be done in terms of, UX, UI for the overall DeFi space, especially for derivatives products. Something that we're extremely kind of passionate about is making derivatives accessible to all. And that comes with simplifying the product, offering a wide range of assets, and really giving people the freedom to trade wherever, whenever they want.
Okay. And you will be adding, like a wrapped version or tokenized version of traditional assets as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How does it stand with the regulations, though? Because, there were some issues with, if you remember, with Deutsche Börse and Binance, because Binance were listing like Mercedes stocks, tokenized stocks, and some others, and FTX. And Deutsche Börse, the German stock exchange, they've, filed a petition for both companies not to use them.
Yeah, so I mean, regulation is something that we're watching very closely. In markets where it's clear that we're not able to offer these types of products, will limit user access through like IP. So right now we block users in the US, in the UK, obviously China, and a couple other markets. It's something that we'll continue exploring with our legal counsel, and hopefully in the future there will be a path to launching kind of regulated DeFi products within these markets.
Right. Okay. That's all from my side.
All right. So that's all from my side as well. It's been very interesting, even as a listener, for the second half of the session. So anyway, thanks so much, Mark, for attending this session with us and share so much insights about Synfutures. And we certainly hope to see more of like the upcoming developments of Synfutures. And we do believe that our audiences will be as well. So thank you, Mark, once again for your time today.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll stay in touch. And thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.